Hello, my dear listener. This is Emily, your host from Emily US English. Thank you for being here. Before we begin, take a deep breath. Inhale gently, exhale slowly. This moment is for you, a moment to listen, reflect, and feel. If you enjoy learning English through real emotions and meaningful stories, you can subscribe to the channel and stay with me on this journey. Now, let's begin. Today, we're talking about the power of small steps, how tiny, simple actions can completely change our lives. Sometimes we wait for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, or a big sign that tells us to start. But life doesn't wait. Growth begins quietly, with small moments that don't look important at first, until they change everything. I once met a woman named Anna. Her story is something I never forgot. A few years ago, she lost her job, her apartment, and even her confidence. Every morning she woke up feeling empty. She sat by the window, looking at people rushing to work, wondering if she would ever feel normal again. One morning, without thinking too much, she decided to take a short walk around her neighborhood. It was only 10 minutes, but it made her feel alive again, just a little. The next day, she walked again, then again. A few weeks later, she started jogging. That simple decision turned into a routine. Over time, her body became stronger and her mind became clearer. She began to feel in control again. She found a new job. She built a new life. When I asked what helped her change, she said something I'll never forget. It wasn't about running. It was about reminding myself that I could still move forward. If you're listening to this right now, I want you to repeat this sentence with me, slowly and clearly. Small steps create big change. Let's say it again, together. Small steps create big change. Pay attention to how you pronounce steps, the soft S sound at the beginning and the clear ps ending. Then focus on change. Let the ch sound flow gently from your tongue. Feel how the words move in your mouth. Don't rush. Speak with calm confidence. When you repeat it, let the meaning enter your heart. Small steps create big change. Many English learners think that fluency happens suddenly, like a switch turning on. But real progress is quiet and slow, like water shaping stone. Every time you repeat a sentence, every time you listen carefully, every time you try to speak, even when you're afraid, you are growing. You may not see it today, but one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. Let's take another example. A young man named Michael used to be terrified of public speaking. The moment he stood in front of people, his voice would shake, his hands trembled, and his heart beat so fast he thought he might faint. One day, he decided to join a local speaking club. The first time, he couldn't say a single sentence, but he didn't quit. He came back the next week and said just one line. The week after that, 2 lines. After a month, he managed to talk for 1 full minute. Slowly, week after week, word by word, he built his confidence. A year later, he became a trainer, teaching others how to speak with courage. When you listen to his story, think about your own fears. Maybe you're afraid of speaking English. Maybe you're afraid of making mistakes. But like Michael, your small actions matter more than your fear. The secret is to do it anyway, even when your voice shakes. Let's practice together again. Repeat after me. Every mistake is a lesson. Every lesson brings me closer to success. Say it softly, with feeling. Let your voice rise slightly on lesson and fall gently on success. This rhythm makes your speech sound natural. English has music in it, a melody that carries emotion. When you learn to feel that rhythm, your words start to sound alive. Let's talk about something important: consistency. Motivation is exciting, but temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. Consistency is what keeps you moving when motivation disappears. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation for that. You just do it every day because it's part of your life. That's how language learning should be. You don't have to study for hours. Just spend 10 minutes every day listening, repeating, reading, writing. Here's a speaking exercise. Say this slowly with a calm voice. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be consistent. Pause after each sentence. I don't need to be perfect. Pause. I just need to be consistent. Pause. Pay attention to your T and N sounds. Let the words flow naturally, not mechanically. Feel the meaning. You are reminding yourself that it's okay not to be perfect. What matters is that you keep going. Anna once told me, when I started running, I wasn't running away from my problems. I was running toward myself. Those words touched me deeply. Every step she took brought her closer to her strength, her peace, her confidence. That's the power of small actions. They reconnect you with who you really are. Now, think about your own journey. Maybe you've been learning English for years, but still feel nervous when speaking. Maybe you compare yourself to others who seem better, faster, more fluent. But comparison steals your joy. Everyone's path is different. Your only job is to keep moving, even slowly. Take a moment to close your eyes and imagine this. You're sitting in a quiet cafe 6 months from now. You order a drink in English. You have a conversation with a foreign friend. You understand more. You speak naturally. You don't worry about mistakes. It feels easy. That future version of you isn't a dream. It's already waiting. All you need to do is keep taking your small steps today. Language, like life, grows with gentle persistence. You don't force it, you nurture it. A few minutes of practice each day is enough. When you speak, speak with kindness to yourself. When you listen, listen with curiosity. When you make mistakes, smile. Each mistake is proof that you are learning. Let's repeat one more phrase, clearly and softly. I am growing every day. Say it again with a little more confidence. I am growing every day. Notice how growing has a soft grr sound and every flows smoothly into day. Let your voice glide gently between the words. Feel the peace in your tone. Here's something I want you to remember deeply. Progress is not loud. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It's quiet, patient, and invisible until one day it becomes impossible to ignore. Let's imagine another story. Daniel wanted to write a book, but he never started because he thought he wasn't good enough. His mentor told him, write 1 page a day. Daniel laughed, but he tried it, 1 page each day, no matter what. After 1 year, he had 365 pages, a full book. He didn't notice the change while it was happening, but every day his effort built something real. That's how transformation works. It doesn't arrive suddenly. It grows silently through repetition, patience, and belief. Now, take another deep breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale slowly through your mouth. Let your shoulders relax. You're doing something powerful right now, not just listening, but learning with awareness. You're training your ear, your voice, and your mind together. English is not just grammar and vocabulary, it's emotion. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we all experience. It's invisible, but it shapes how we live, how we speak, and even how we dream. Fear can stop us from trying, from believing, and from moving forward. Sometimes it doesn't even come from danger. It comes from doubt. We fear failure. We fear judgment. We fear not being enough. And often that fear whispers in our minds, telling us to stay where we are because it feels safer there. But safety is not the same as peace. Safety can keep you comfortable, but comfort never creates growth. Real peace comes from the courage to face fear, to look at it directly and say, I see you, but I'm moving anyway. That's what building inner strength means. I remember talking to a young woman named Clara. She wanted to move to another country to study, but she was terrified. She kept saying, what if I fail? What if people don't understand me? What if I'm not good enough? I asked her, what if you succeed? What if this is the experience that changes your entire life? She was silent for a long time. Then she smiled and said, I never thought about that side before. 2 months later, Clara left her home for the first time. The first few weeks were hard. She struggled with English. She missed her family. She cried some nights. But she stayed. And slowly, things changed. She started to understand more. She made new friends. She began to love her new life. One day, she sent me a message that said, I'm still scared sometimes, but now I know fear is just part of growing. Repeat that with me, slowly. Fear is part of growing. Say it again, clearly. Fear is part of growing. Pay attention to your pronunciation. The R in fear should be soft but strong, not rolled. Let the word growing sound smooth, not rushed. Feel how your voice sounds when you say it calmly, confident but gentle. In English, confidence is not about speaking loudly. It's about speaking clearly and with meaning. You don't need to sound perfect. You just need to sound real. Every person you admire once felt afraid. Think of actors, teachers, speakers, leaders. They've all faced fear. The difference between them and those who give up is simple. They took action despite fear. Fear is not your enemy. It's a signal, a sign that you're stepping into something important. There's a phrase I often use. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward even when fear is present. Let's practice that together. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward even when fear is present. Repeat it slowly. Focus on rhythm and emotion. When you say move forward, let your voice rise slightly, showing energy and intention. When you say fear is present, lower your tone softly like you're calming yourself. Speaking this way makes your English sound natural and expressive. Let me tell you another story about a man named Leo. He dreamed of becoming a singer, but he had one problem. He was terrified of singing in public. His voice would freeze, his chest would tighten, and his heart pounded so loud he could barely hear himself. He almost gave up many times. But one day, his friend convinced him to sing at a small open mic night. There were only 15 people there. His hands were shaking when he held the microphone. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and sang. His voice cracked a few times, but he finished the song. When he opened his eyes, people were clapping. He felt something powerful, not pride, but freedom. The fear didn't disappear, but it no longer controlled him. He told me later, "I realized fear doesn't leave you. You just grow bigger than it." Repeat this sentence with me. I am bigger than my fear. Say it again, slowly. I am bigger than my fear. Focus on your breathing while you say it. Take a deep breath before the sentence. Speak slowly and feel the power in your words. Each time you repeat it, your mind believes it a little more. Fear often grows in silence. The more we avoid it, the stronger it becomes. But when we talk about it, when we move despite it, it starts to shrink. That's why speaking out loud, even to yourself, is powerful. Your voice reminds you that you exist, that you are capable, that you are not invisible. If you ever feel nervous about speaking English, try this small exercise. Stand in front of a mirror, look at yourself, and say one positive sentence in English. It could be something like, "I'm doing my best," or "I'm proud of how far I've come." Do it every day. At first, it might feel strange, but over time, you'll notice your confidence growing naturally. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you build, one small action at a time. Now, let's reflect. Think about something you've always wanted to do but haven't started because of fear. Maybe it's learning English seriously, starting a YouTube channel, moving to a new city, or telling someone how you feel. Picture that thing in your mind. Now imagine what your life would look like if you did it anyway. Imagine the joy, the freedom, the pride you would feel after taking that first step. That's the feeling that lives beyond fear. Fear and growth are twins. They always come together. Every time you grow, fear will visit. It will whisper reasons to stop, but if you listen closely, you'll also hear a quieter voice, the voice of your courage. It says, "You can." That's the voice you follow. Let's practice another phrase. Say it gently with a calm rhythm. I can do difficult things. Say it again with more certainty. I can do difficult things. Notice how the "can" sounds. Short, clear, not heavy. Keep your tone natural, not forced. Remember, speaking English is also an act of courage. Every time you open your mouth to speak in a new language, you're stepping into the unknown. That's bravery. Don't wait until you feel fearless. Start while you're afraid. That's where real confidence comes from. Let's talk about how to strengthen your mind against fear. There's a simple rule. Action reduces anxiety. The moment you act, even in a small way, fear loses some of its power. If you're afraid of speaking English, start by recording your voice for 1 minute every day. Don't worry about mistakes, just speak. If you're afraid of failing, set a small goal that you can reach. The more actions you take, the more your brain learns that you're safe, that you can handle discomfort. It's the same for life. Every small action you take in the direction of your dreams tells fear, "You don't control me." Another way to manage fear is through breathing. When we're scared, we breathe fast and shallow. That sends a signal to the brain that we're in danger. But when we breathe deeply and slowly, the brain relaxes. You can practice this right now. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a moment. Then exhale through your mouth for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel the calm returning. Speak after you breathe. That's how professional speakers keep their voice steady, not by killing fear, but by calming the body. Now, listen to this line carefully. Fear loses power when faced with attention. That means when you pay attention to your fear instead of running away from it, you start to understand it. You realize it's not a monster. It's a message. It's trying to protect you from pain. Thank it, but move forward anyway. When you're learning English, this is especially true. Fear of judgment, fear of mistakes, fear of being misunderstood, these are normal. But remember, no one learns without mistakes. Every fluent speaker you admire was once where you are now, making grammar errors, mispronouncing words, forgetting sentences. They didn't become fluent by being perfect. They became fluent by being brave. Repeat this with me clearly and softly. Bravery is my teacher. Mistakes help me grow. Each time you say it, let it sound like a truth you already believe. You can even practice shadowing, a method where you listen and repeat exactly what you hear, copying rhythm, tone, and emotion. It's one of the best ways to sound natural in English. When you listen to me or any native speaker, don't just hear the words, feel the melody, imitate it. That's how you train your voice and your confidence together. Courage grows through repetition. Peace is something we all search for, but few truly understand. Many people think peace means silence or an easy life with no problems. But real peace is not the absence of noise. It's the calm that stays even when life is loud. You can be in a busy city, surrounded by chaos, and still feel peace inside. You can also be in a quiet room and still feel restless. That's because peace doesn't live outside you. It lives within you. Let's say this together. Peace lives within me. Repeat it again, slowly, with feeling. Peace lives within me. When you speak, let your voice drop softly at the end of the sentence. Imagine you're breathing out calm energy. The word peace should sound long and smooth, not short or rushed. Sometimes finding peace means learning to let go. We hold on to so many things, regrets from the past, anger, disappointment, expectations. These emotions weigh us down. They make it hard to breathe, to smile, to move forward. But when we release them, we make space for peace to enter. There's a simple truth. You can't fill your hands with new blessings if they're still holding on to old pain. Now, take a moment. Think about something you've been holding on to. Maybe a mistake you made, a person who hurt you, or a dream that didn't happen. Now, imagine opening your hands and letting it go. Feel how light you become. That's what peace feels like. Lightness. Peace also comes from forgiveness, not because others always deserve it, but because you do. You deserve freedom. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or accepting what happened. It means deciding not to carry it anymore. When you forgive, you take your power back. Let's practice speaking it together. I choose peace over pain. I forgive so I can be free. Say these slowly, clearly. Feel how your chest opens when you say, I choose peace. Let the word free sound soft but certain. like a promise to yourself. When I met an old man who had spent years angry at his brother after a big argument, they hadn't spoken for over 20 years. When I asked him if he missed his brother, his eyes filled with tears. He whispered, "Every day." Then I asked, "Why not call him?" He said, "Because I don't know if he wants to hear from me." I smiled and said, "You won't know until you try." The next day, he called. They talked for hours. He told me later, it felt like breathing again. Sometimes, peace begins with one brave conversation. When you practice English, think of it like this too: a conversation that brings peace, not pressure. Don't focus on perfect grammar. Focus on connection. Communication is not about impressing people. It's about expressing truth. When you speak from your heart, your English sounds alive. Try this line after me. I speak with calm and confidence. Say it again. I speak with calm and confidence. Notice the rhythm: calm and confidence. Slow down at the commas, breathe between words. When you practice speaking English with mindfulness, you don't just improve your accent, you improve your presence. People feel your energy through your tone. Peace grows through presence. When you are truly present, not thinking about yesterday or tomorrow, everything feels clear. You start to hear the small sounds around you: birds, footsteps, wind, laughter. You begin to notice the beauty in simple things: a cup of coffee, a morning walk, a kind word. These small things become enough. That's when gratitude appears, and gratitude is the foundation of peace. Repeat this softly. Gratitude brings me peace. Say it again, slower. Gratitude brings me peace. Let's practice pronunciation. Gratitude. Stress on the first syllable. Gratitude. Make it sound warm, not flat. Smile slightly as you say it. Smiling changes your tone naturally. Every morning, you can practice a simple habit. Before checking your phone, take one deep breath and say 3 things you're grateful for, even small ones. It could be, "I'm grateful for this morning," "I'm grateful for my health," or "I'm grateful for another chance to learn." This shifts your mindset from pressure to peace. And when you speak English, you can do the same too. Instead of saying, "My English is bad," say, "I'm grateful that I'm learning." Gratitude changes fear into progress. Peace also grows when you live with purpose. Purpose doesn't always mean a big dream or a perfect plan. It means doing what you can with love where you are. It means showing up each day with kindness to others and to yourself. A simple act of kindness can create peace. A smile, a thank you, a small gesture of care. When you do something kind, your heart softens. When your heart softens, your voice becomes more gentle. And gentle voices are powerful. Try this. My voice carries kindness. My words create peace. Say it again, slowly, with emotion. Focus on how the word kindness ends softly, not sharply. Feel the calm it brings. Once a teacher told me something beautiful. She said, "When you speak, imagine your words are seeds. Whatever you say will grow, so speak what you want to see in the world. That sentence stayed with me. Words have energy. When you speak with peace, you spread it even without realizing it. The truth is, peace doesn't come from what you have, or where you live, or who you're with. It comes from how you see the world. It's a choice you make each moment to respond with patience instead of anger, with understanding instead of judgment, with love instead of fear. Say it with me one more time. I choose peace every day. Let the words flow gently. This is how you train not just your English, but your mindset. And remember, you don't find peace by escaping life. You find it by embracing life exactly as it is and learning to breathe calmly through every season. Believing in yourself is one of the hardest lessons in life because the world often teaches you to doubt before it teaches you to dream. People tell you what you can't do, where you don't belong, and who you'll never become. But somewhere deep inside, there's a voice that whispers, you can. That voice is quiet, gentle, and often hidden beneath the noise of fear and comparison. Yet it's the truest voice you'll ever hear. It's your own belief calling you home. Let's pause here. Take a deep breath and say this softly. I believe in myself. Again with more warmth. I believe in myself. When you say this, don't rush. Let each word land. Feel how belief stretches. It's not just a sound, it's a promise. When you believe in yourself, you don't have to know the entire path ahead. You only need to trust the next step. I remember meeting a young man named Daniel. He was shy, quiet, and convinced that he wasn't smart enough to succeed. He'd failed several exams and started to believe he was a failure. One day I asked him, if failure didn't exist, what would you do? He paused for a long time and then whispered, I'd try again. That single sentence changed his life. The next day, he did try again. Slowly, with patience, he rebuilt his confidence. A year later, he passed every subject and became a teacher. He told me, it wasn't my knowledge that changed, it was my belief. Belief transforms ordinary people into extraordinary ones. It turns weakness into strength and fear into courage. But belief is not blind. It's built step by step through effort and experience. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you strengthen belief. When you wake up early, when you finish what you start, when you choose kindness over anger, that's belief in action. Let's practice a sentence together. I keep my promises to myself. Say it clearly, with slow rhythm. I keep my promises to myself. Each pause gives weight to the meaning. You are telling your mind that you are reliable, that your word matters. When you practice English, this belief works the same way. Many learners say, my English isn't good enough. But that thought kills growth before it begins. Instead, say, I'm improving every day. You might not sound perfect, and that's okay. Fluency is not perfection, it's persistence. Confidence grows not from knowing every word, but from daring to speak even when you're unsure. Try this line. I speak with confidence even when I make mistakes. Repeat it again, slower, and smile as you say it. A smile relaxes your tongue and makes your pronunciation more natural. Notice how the rhythm feels. I speak with confidence even when I make mistakes. Each pause gives time for clarity. Every challenge you face is a conversation between fear and faith. Fear says, what if I fail? Faith says, what if I fly? Fear focuses on what might go wrong. Faith focuses on what could go right. Which one are you feeding today? There's a story about a woman who loved painting but stopped after someone told her she wasn't talented. For 10 years, she didn't touch a brush. Then one day, her little daughter came home from school crying because a classmate said her drawing was ugly. The mother knelt down, held her child's hands, and said, "Don't ever stop doing what makes you happy just because someone doesn't understand it." The girl asked, "Then why did you stop painting, Mom?" That question broke her open. That night, she painted again. It wasn't perfect, but it was real, alive, and full of joy. Sometimes the person we need to believe in again is the version of ourselves that once dared to dream. Belief is a practice. Just like learning English, you train it every day. You don't wait for motivation. You create it by showing up. Let's repeat together. I show up for myself every day. Say it slowly, clearly. Focus on the sound of show up. It means you appear, you commit, even when it's hard. When you speak English, don't think of yourself as a student. Think of yourself as a communicator. You are here to share, not to impress. You're not just learning a language, you're expanding your world. Each new word you learn is a doorway to new understanding. Try this phrase. Every word I learn brings me closer to confidence. Pronounce closer softly like closer and stretch the vowel. Speak it like you mean it. Believing in yourself doesn't mean you never doubt. It means you keep going even when you do. It means you whisper to yourself, I'll try again, even after falling. Confidence isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, and calm. It grows through repetition, not applause. Think about how a tree grows. You don't see it stretch every day, but under the surface, roots are deepening, quietly. That's how belief works. Every time you choose courage over comfort, your roots grow stronger. One day, people will see your success, but only you will know how deep your roots are. Now practice this rhythmically. My roots are growing deeper every day. My strength comes from within. When you pronounce within, let the second syllable flow softly, like within. Emphasize from within because that's where true strength begins. Some people wait for others to believe in them first, but the truth is no one can give you belief. They can inspire you, support you, encourage you, but only you can decide to believe. Belief is an inside job. When you were a child, you didn't wait for permission to learn. You fell, stood up, and tried again. Walking, speaking, discovering. That's pure belief. Somewhere along the way, society teaches us to be afraid of failing. But what if failing is just part of learning? Say this softly to yourself. I'm not afraid of failing. Every mistake teaches me something new. Breathe between the sentences. Notice how your voice relaxes. This is how native speakers sound when they're calm and confident. Their tone flows naturally because their mind is peaceful. Every great story begins with uncertainty. The hero never knows how things will end, but they take the first step anyway. And maybe that's all life asks of us, to keep showing up, one brave moment at a time. When you start believing in yourself, your energy changes. You walk differently, you speak differently, you stop apologizing for existing. You start trusting your voice, in English, in life, in everything. Remember this line. My voice matters. My dreams are valid. Say them with conviction. Imagine every word lighting up inside you. You are not too late, too old, too quiet, or too broken. You are becoming. Belief is not built in a single day. It's built in moments. When you try again, when you learn from mistakes, when you choose to rise instead of retreat. Each moment of courage becomes part of your story. You are the author of that story. Every word, every choice, every breath you take shapes it. And when you speak English, remember, your story is worth telling. Fear is a strange companion. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers softly in the back of your mind, telling you that you're not ready, that you're not enough, that you might fail if you try. But fear is not your enemy. It's a signal. It appears when something matters to you, when you're standing close to growth. Fear is simply a sign that you're about to do something meaningful. Take a breath. Let's say this together. I am not my fear. Say it again, gently but firmly. I am not my fear. Notice how it feels to separate yourself from that emotion. You have fear, but you are not fear. The moment you recognize that difference, you start to regain your power. There was a girl named Mia who dreamed of becoming a singer. But every time she stood on stage, her hands trembled, her voice broke, and her heart raced. She thought fear meant she wasn't ready. But one day, her mentor told her, the goal isn't to erase fear, it's to sing with it. That sentence changed everything. The next time she sang, her voice still shook, but she didn't run away. She embraced the fear, turned it into energy, and poured it into her song. The audience felt her honesty, not her nerves. And that's the secret. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the presence of action. Say this line slowly, like a mantra. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the presence of action. When you pronounce courage, stress the first syllable, courage. Let your voice drop gently at the end. Say it again and feel its rhythm. Courage sounds calm, not loud. We often think brave people don't feel scared, but the truth is, they feel fear just like everyone else. They've just learned to move with it. Fear loses its control when you stop running from it. The more you face what scares you, the smaller it becomes. In English learning, fear appears too. The fear of making mistakes, of being judged, of sounding different. But remember, sounding different is not wrong. It's your accent, your story, your identity. Every accent carries history and beauty. You don't have to sound like someone else to sound confident. Let's practice this together. My voice is my power. I speak without fear. Say it again with steady rhythm. My voice is my power. Feel the air move through your chest. Confidence is not about volume, it's about energy. Fear often hides behind perfectionism, that constant pressure to do everything flawlessly. But perfectionism is just fear wearing a mask. It says, if I'm perfect, I won't be criticized. But the truth is, you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You only need to be present. When you practice speaking English, don't aim to sound perfect. Aim to sound real. People remember emotion, not error. Speak from your heart, not your grammar book. Try this. It's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes mean I'm growing. Breathe after each sentence. Smile while speaking. Notice how much lighter it feels when you allow yourself to be human. There's a small story I love. A mountain climber once said, "The higher I climb, the smaller my fear becomes. Not because it disappears, but because my perspective changes." When you move toward your fears, they shrink behind you. When you run from them, they grow larger ahead. Fear is like a shadow. It follows you when you turn your back. But when you face the light, when you face what scares you, the shadow moves behind. Try saying this out loud. I face my fears with courage. I turn fear into strength. Focus on the pronunciation of strength. End it softly with a gentle th sound, not t. Whisper it if you need to. Whispering helps your tongue find the right movement naturally. Sometimes fear disguises itself as progress. That little voice saying, "Be careful, don't risk it, wait for the right time." But there is no perfect time. The right time is when your heart says now. Think about something you've been afraid to do. Maybe speaking English in public, changing jobs, or telling someone how you feel. Ask yourself, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Let that answer guide you, not the fear. Let's practice this sentence slowly. I choose courage over comfort. Pause between each word. Feel how powerful it sounds. Courage over comfort. Growth never happens in comfort zones. It happens when you dare to step out. A student once told me, "I'm too scared to speak English because people might laugh." I told him, "People might laugh for a second, but you'll keep improving for a lifetime." Then I asked him to speak anyway. His first few sentences were shaky, but his eyes lit up. Afterward, he smiled and said, "I did it." And that's the magic. Courage begins with one small "I did it." Say it with me. I did it. Now louder and prouder. I did it. It doesn't matter how small the step is. What matters is that you took it. Each "I did it" builds a bridge across fear. When you speak English, try this exercise. Before you start, close your eyes and imagine yourself speaking calmly, fluently, confidently. Visualize it. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between imagination and reality. The more you imagine yourself succeeding, the more your body learns how to act that way. Repeat this affirmation. I am calm, confident, and clear. Say it again, slower. Feel how clear sounds when your mouth opens wide. It's a bright word, filled with light. Another truth about fear is that it often grows from the stories we tell ourselves. We imagine the worst outcome. What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if they don't like me? But what if none of that happens? What if something beautiful happens instead? Sometimes fear just needs a new story. Instead of saying, "I can't do it," say, "I'm learning how." Instead of saying, "I'm scared," say, "I'm excited to grow." The words you use shape your world. Practice this shift out loud. I'm not scared. I'm learning. I'm not nervous. I'm growing. Your pronunciation becomes smoother when your message is positive, because when your heart relaxes, your voice flows naturally. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just a quiet whisper at the end of the day saying, "I'll try again tomorrow." It's the student who keeps practicing after failing an exam, the parent who keeps showing up for their family, the dreamer who refuses to give up. Courage is persistence with love. There's a man I once met named Raphael. He had a stutter since childhood. For years, he avoided speaking because people mocked him. But one day, he joined a public speaking club to confront his biggest fear. The first time he spoke, he stuttered, paused, and trembled. But the audience clapped. They didn't see a man with a stutter. They saw a man with courage. A year later, he became one of the best motivational speakers in his city. He told me, "Fear was never my prison. Silence was my home." Say that softly. Fear's not my prison. Silence is not my home. Each word carries freedom. Speak them like a release, as if you're letting go of invisible chains. When fear tries to stop you, remind yourself that everything you want is on the other side of that fear. Confidence isn't found by waiting. It's built by walking straight through discomfort. You don't overcome fear by fighting it. You overcome it by befriending it, understanding it, dancing with it. Fear is not your enemy. It's an invitation to grow. Take a deep breath. Feel your heartbeat. That's courage alive inside you, waiting to be used. There's a moment in everyone's life when silence becomes louder than words. When you sit alone in your room at night, lights dimmed, and your mind begins to speak in ways no one else can hear, it asks quietly, are you truly happy? Are you living your life the way your heart wants? That quiet voice inside you, most people ignore it, but that voice is your truth. It's your compass. Listening to it is where real growth begins. Many people think self-development is about adding more habits, more goals, more hustle. But sometimes true progress is about removing the noise, the fear, the expectations others have built around you. When you take all of that away, what's left is something pure, yourself. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. Say this sentence with me slowly. I allow myself to be who I really am. Repeat it again, carefully, softly, emphasizing the rhythm and clarity. I allow myself to be who I really am. Let your voice fall gently at the end. This isn't just pronunciation practice, it's a declaration. You are teaching your brain and your heart that being yourself is enough. There's a story I remember vividly. A young woman named Clara once told me she felt completely lost. She was successful on paper, good job, great apartment, polite smile. But every night, she came home and cried without knowing why. One day, she sat on a park bench and decided to simply breathe. For the first time in years, she didn't scroll through her phone or think about work. She just watched the trees move in the wind. And suddenly, she said, I realized I'd been living everyone else's dream but mine. That single realization changed her life. She quit her job months later and began teaching art to children, something she'd always wanted but never dared to do. Today, she says she finally feels light. This story isn't about quitting your job. It's about listening. The world around us moves fast, and when it does, we forget to hear our own heartbeat. The practice of listening, both in language and in life, is deeply connected. When you train your ear to truly listen, not just to words, but to tone, emotion, silence, you start to understand people on a deeper level. And when you listen to yourself, you begin to understand life on a deeper level. So, here's your next speaking exercise. Find a quiet place and say out loud, I trust the timing of my life. I am patient with my own journey. I am exactly where I need to be right now. Focus on the intonation. Rise slightly on trust and patient, then fall gently at the end of each sentence. Feel the calm flow through your voice. This isn't just English practice. It's mindfulness through language. Every word you speak carries energy. When you say words of kindness and faith, your energy changes. People can feel it when you speak English with warmth and calm confidence. It's not about perfect grammar, it's about presence. Many advanced learners forget this. They chase perfection, but forget expression. Don't speak English like a textbook. Speak it like a heartbeat, alive, imperfect, real. Sometimes we think growth has to be visible, but real change often happens quietly, inside your thoughts, in the way you react, in the calm you choose instead of anger. Those are invisible victories, but they shape the person you're becoming. When you start noticing these small victories, you begin to love yourself not for what you achieve, but how you evolve. Repeat this phrase after me, slowly. I am proud of who I'm becoming. Say it again, with feeling. I am proud of who I'm becoming. Let the rhythm guide your speech. The word proud, feel how it opens your chest slightly, giving your voice strength. That's how language connects to emotion. When you speak from your chest, your voice carries confidence. When you speak from your heart, your voice carries truth. In advanced English learning, emotion and meaning are your greatest tools. Instead of memorizing vocabulary lists, choose sentences that touch you deeply. Read them slowly, record yourself, listen to how your tone changes. This emotional engagement helps you sound natural because your brain learns not just the word, but the feeling behind it. That's what makes native speakers sound authentic. They connect emotion to sound. So, next time you listen to an inspiring story, don't just hear it, repeat it, mimic it, feel it. That's how you train both your ear and your soul. Try shadowing this sentence. Every day, I choose peace over perfection. Notice the rhythm. Every day, falling gently. I choose peace, a calm rise, over perfection, soft, balanced ending. Practice this with slow breathing, as if each word carries meaning that your heart understands before your mind does. Sometimes people ask me, Emily, how do I stay motivated when life feels heavy? My answer is simple. You don't always need to feel motivated. You just need to stay connected to your purpose, your dreams, your values. Some days you'll run. Some days you'll walk. And some days you'll just breathe. But as long as you're moving forward, even in silence, you're still growing. In language learning, this is the same. Some days you'll study for hours. Some days you'll only listen to one story. But it's not about speed. It's about consistency. Small steps, again and again, lead to fluency. The same principle that transforms your English can transform your life. Patience, presence, and persistence. You see, learning English isn't just about communication. It's about transformation. Every time you learn a new phrase, you open a new door in your mind. You see the world in a slightly different light. You understand more people, more ideas, more emotions, and eventually, you understand yourself better. That's the beauty of language. It's not just words. It's a mirror reflecting who you are and who you're becoming. Take one more deep breath. Whisper this. I am learning to love the process. That's your final speaking exercise for today. Practice it whenever you feel impatient. In English, in life, in everything, progress is not a race. It's a rhythm. And somewhere deep inside you, that rhythm is already perfect. There comes a time when you realize that life is not about controlling everything, but about flowing with what is. You can't always predict where each road leads, but you can choose how you walk on it. You can walk with fear, or you can walk with faith. The difference isn't in the path, it's in your presence. When you learn to be fully present, even ordinary moments become extraordinary. A morning coffee, a quiet sunrise, a conversation with someone who truly listens. These moments teach you more about happiness than any book ever could. Say this with me slowly. I am here now. I am here now. It's such a simple sentence, but powerful. Feel the pause between I am and here. Let your voice soften at the end. You are training your tongue, your breathing, and your mind to be one. English isn't just about sounds. It's about rhythm and awareness. When you pronounce slowly, with emotion, your words gain depth. I remember once meeting a man named Daniel at a cafe in San Francisco. He was in his 50s, calm, almost serene, with a gentle smile. We talked for a while, and I asked him what he did for a living. He said, "I used to be a lawyer. Now I teach meditation." That surprised me. He explained that he had spent years fighting cases, chasing success, arguing endlessly, until one day he woke up and realized he hadn't felt peace in years. So he decided to start over. He went to India for 6 months, learned to meditate, and came back with nothing but inner peace. He said something that stayed with me. "I used to listen to win. Now I listen to understand." That one sentence changed the way I communicate with others and with myself. When you listen to understand, not to reply, your whole world slows down. You begin to truly hear people's feelings, not just their words. You begin to sense the space between sentences, the emotions hidden behind silence. That's the same way you should listen when learning English. Don't just hear the sounds, listen to the feeling. What does the speaker mean? What emotion are they trying to express? Try repeating the sentence. I listen to understand, not to reply. Emphasize understand, let your tone rise slightly, then fall on reply. Feel the calm confidence in your voice. This is how native speakers naturally express empathy, through tone, not just vocabulary. Language is a bridge, not a performance. You don't need to impress anyone with perfect sentences. What people remember is how you make them feel. That's why emotional connection matters more than grammatical perfection. When you speak with kindness, with genuine curiosity, people listen. When you speak with fear of mistakes, your voice tightens. But when you speak with love for the message, your voice flows naturally. There's a beautiful truth here. Communication is not about words, it's about connection. Imagine two people who barely speak the same language, yet they smile at each other, share a laugh, help each other. That's communication in its purest form, heart to heart. Every time you speak English, remember, you're not just practicing a language, you're connecting souls. Now, take a moment to breathe. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. Whisper, I speak with love and understanding. Say it again slower, letting your breath guide you. This is how you align your speech with mindfulness. Every breath you take can make your voice more present, more sincere. Here's something you can try. Record yourself reading a short paragraph in English. Don't focus on being perfect. Focus on feeling. Before speaking, close your eyes and imagine the emotion you want to convey. Then open your eyes and speak as if you're talking to someone you truly care about. Afterwards, listen to your recording, not to judge, but to notice. Notice your rhythm, your pauses, your tone. That awareness will make your English sound alive. There's one more truth I want to share. Many learners believe confidence comes after fluency, but it's actually the other way around. Confidence creates fluency. When you give yourself permission to speak, even imperfectly, your brain learns faster. It relaxes. It remembers better. So speak boldly. Don't whisper your potential. Let it be heard. Repeat after me. I speak with confidence even when I'm learning. I speak with confidence even when I'm learning. Feel the balance between strength and softness. This phrase is both a speaking exercise and a mindset shift. Each time you say it, you train your heart as much as your voice. Life and language have one thing in common. They reward those who keep showing up. You may stumble, make mistakes, feel lost, but if you keep returning, keep practicing, keep breathing, you will grow. Progress doesn't shout, it whispers. And one day, without realizing, you'll look back and see how far you've come. Maybe that's what growth truly means. Not becoming someone else, but returning to yourself. Clearer, braver, softer. Sometimes life teaches you the most important lessons when you least expect them. It doesn't always come in the form of a grand event or a life-changing decision. Often, it's hidden inside small, quiet moments, the ones you almost overlook. The way someone smiles at you when you're having a hard day, the stranger who holds the door when your hands are full, the sunlight through the window that reminds you the world is still beautiful. Those are not coincidences. They are reminders, gentle whispers from life telling you you are not alone. Keep going. Say this slowly with me. I am never truly alone. Let your voice soften on alone. Let the word fade like the echo of comfort. Language is vibration. When you speak with calm energy, your words heal not only you, but others who hear them. That's the power of tone. That's the soul of communication. A few years ago, I met an elderly man named Robert. He lived alone in a small house near the ocean. Every morning, he would walk to the beach with his notebook and write a few lines of poetry. I asked him once what he wrote about. He smiled and said, about the sea, about time, and about forgiveness. Then he added quietly, the older I get, the more I realize forgiveness is not about others. It's about setting yourself free. Those words sank deep into me. Forgiveness is one of the hardest lessons in self-development. We often carry the weight of old pain like invisible stones in our hearts. We replay memories, arguments, regrets. But holding on doesn't heal. Speaking helps. Saying aloud the words we've kept inside helps us release what burdens us. Try this exercise. Take a deep breath and say softly, I forgive myself for what I didn't know then. Repeat it again. Feel your voice tremble if it needs to. Let it be real. I forgive myself for what I didn't know then. When you say these words, you're not just practicing pronunciation, you're practicing compassion. This is how English becomes more than a language. It becomes healing. Every phrase you speak carries intention. That's why speaking mindfully transforms both your fluency and your heart. There's something magical that happens when you learn to speak gently to yourself, to others, to the world. Gentleness doesn't mean weakness. It means strength wrapped in understanding. The more fluent you become, the more your words have power. And the more power you have, the more important it is to use it kindly. Let's practice tone awareness. Say this, I choose kindness over judgment. Notice how kindness opens your mouth, how judgment closes it slightly. Even your body reflects the meaning. That's why pronunciation is not just about sound, it's about feeling. As you continue your English journey, remember, fluency is not speed, it's clarity. When you speak slowly, intentionally, you give every word space to breathe. Native speakers don't rush, they flow. They play with pauses, with rhythm, with silence. That's what gives English its music. Try this. Record yourself reading one paragraph, then listen and count how many pauses you took. If you spoke too quickly, try again slower. Feel the natural melody of your voice. Every great speaker, every storyteller learns this art, the art of silence, because silence gives words meaning. Imagine a song with no pause between notes. It would be chaos. The same with speech. The beauty of your English lies not just in what you say, but in what you don't say. Once I listened to a street musician in London. He was playing the violin with his eyes closed, lost in his own world. The crowd was silent, just listening. When he finished, there was no applause at first, just a deep collective breath, as if everyone had been holding it. Then, gentle clapping. That's when I realized something. Emotion transcends language. The feeling that passes between humans needs no translation. So, when you speak English, remember, your goal is not to sound perfect. It's to sound human, to carry emotion in your tone, empathy in your rhythm, honesty in your pauses. This is what true mastery looks like. Take another deep breath. Whisper this softly. My voice carries peace. Repeat it again, slower this time. Imagine your words floating gently through the air. That's how you connect not just with listeners, but with their hearts. The more you practice this kind of mindful speaking, the more natural your English becomes. You'll notice that you stop translating in your head. You start thinking directly in emotion, in imagery, in rhythm. That's the point when English stops being a subject and becomes part of your soul. Sometimes learning a language feels like climbing a mountain. You keep going, step by step, wondering if you'll ever reach the top. But when you pause, turn around, and look back, you realize how far you've come. Every mistake was a stone you climbed. Every effort was a footprint on your path. So, let's celebrate the climb, not just the destination. Say this slowly. I am proud of my journey. Emphasize proud. Let it resonate. You deserve that pride. Every lesson, every word, every attempt, it all counts. And as you keep growing, remember this simple truth. Language, like life, is a conversation between effort and grace. You give your best and then you let go. You speak and then you listen. You learn and then you live. The more you open your heart to learning, the more your words begin to mirror your light. There are days when everything feels uncertain, when the road ahead is covered in fog and you can't see where you're going. You take one step, then another, hoping somehow the path will reveal itself. And it always does. Maybe not right away, maybe not in the way you expected, but life always shows you the next step once you begin to move. The same is true for learning, for growing, for healing. You don't need to know how it all ends. You just need to trust that each step matters. Every step I take has meaning. Feel how your breath moves through each word. This is your reminder that progress doesn't have to be loud or visible. It just has to be real. I once met a teacher who told me something beautiful. She said, "We spend our whole lives trying to find our purpose, but maybe the purpose of life is not to find it, it's to live it." I didn't understand it then, but now I do. Purpose isn't something waiting far ahead. It's something you create in every small act of courage, every kind word, every honest conversation. When you speak, when you listen, when you learn, you are already living your purpose. Think about how far you've come. The first time you listened to an English sentence and understood just one word. The first time you tried to speak and your voice shook. The first time you realized you could express something real, something you in another language. Every one of those moments built the person you are today. That's why you should never underestimate yourself. You're not just learning words, you're expanding your world. Try saying this softly. I am grateful for how far I've come. Let the gratitude sit on your tongue. Feel it echo gently inside your chest. Gratitude is the language of peace, and when you speak it, life listens. If there's one thing I've learned from all the stories we've shared, it's that strength doesn't always look powerful. Sometimes it looks like waking up and trying again after a hard day. Sometimes it looks like forgiving yourself. Sometimes it's choosing to smile when it would be easier to give up. Real strength is quiet. It's the soft persistence that whispers, I'm still here. And you are still here, listening, learning, growing. That in itself is extraordinary. You've walked through every chapter with an open heart, learning not just English, but how to live with more intention, more love, and more authenticity. You've discovered that words can heal, that tone can comfort, and that language can connect souls across oceans. So now, as you take a deep breath with me, repeat after me. I am becoming the person I was meant to be. Feel the certainty in your voice. Every sound you make is proof that you're evolving. You're learning not only how to speak fluently, but how to live meaningfully. There's something powerful about finishing a journey. It's not really an end. It's a beginning disguised as a goodbye. Because from here, everything you've learned becomes part of you. Every word, every pause, every story woven into your voice. You don't just speak English anymore. You embody it. Maybe someday you'll be the one telling your story. Maybe your voice will inspire someone who feels lost, the same way others once inspired you. And when that happens, remember this moment, the moment you decided to grow, to listen, to believe. Because that's where transformation begins, not in perfection, but in presence. Take one last slow breath with me. Inhale deeply, exhale gently. Whisper this final affirmation. I am ready for everything that's waiting for me. This isn't just an ending, it's an awakening. You've learned to hear not only the sound of English, but the sound of your own courage. You've learned that language is more than grammar. It's emotion, rhythm, and soul. You've learned that self-development isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you already are. And as you step into the world with new words and new strength, remember, you are your own story. Speak it with love, live it with grace, and let every sentence you ever say be a reflection of your light. Thank you for being here, for listening, for feeling, for learning. This is Emily, and this has been your journey of voice, of growth, of heart. Keep speaking bravely, keep listening deeply, keep becoming endlessly. Because the most beautiful language you'll ever speak is the language of your soul.